saying in new court about the election of
It's bad
to be stronger in denouncing it in hindsight. Adding any executives who allowed election broadcast should be reprimanded or maybe got rid of.
You're really not supposed to say things that are either that you know that are false or that are recklessly indifferent to the truth. And at a certain point, maybe you can't stick your head in the sand.
Murdoch made the remarks during a deposition. Fox News is being sued by Dominion Voting Systems for $1.6 billion, claiming the network hurt its business by allowing some hosts and former President Trump lawyers to claim the company's voting machines rigged the election. In the new court filing, Murdoch acknowledges Trump's baseless claims of a stolen election were promoted by Fox hosts, including Lou Dobbs, Sean Hannity, Jeanine Pirro, and Maria Bartiromo.
Can you tell us about the interest on the other side of this Dominion software?
Well, obviously, they have invested in it for their own reasons and are using it to commit this fraud to steal votes.
Dominion lawyers asked Murdoch if he was aware that the hosts endorsed the false claims, and he replied, yes, they endorsed. But Murdoch denied Fox itself promoted the election lies. The network responded to the filing, saying it was simply covering and commenting on allegations by a sitting president.
We do want there to be room to be sincerely wrong, sometimes even negligently wrong. But, you weren't malicious. On the other hand, there's a point at which you start to destroy the fabric of democracy, especially around allegations of, vote changing.
Previous court filings show Fox stars, including Tucker Carlson or Ingram, privately doubted the Trump team's claims.
And Fox has tried to get the case dismissed on First Amendment grounds, but trial is set to begin in April.
A Florida man dubbed Sedition Panda has been arrested in connection with the attack on the Capitol. The identified Jesse James Rumson as the January 6th riot was spotted wearing the headpiece of a giant panda costume. He's facing a series of felony charges, including assaulting police. So far, nearly 1,000 people have been arrested.
If you've already booked a flight for a summer, be prepared for a schedule change. Airlines are starting to make adjustments for demand and staffing. They can be from a few minutes up to a new day. Airlines don't always alert you, so experts advise to check periodically. If the change doesn't suit you, many times you can get a new flight without an extra charge.
A crane collapse provided a scare for a homeowner in northern New Jersey. Doorbell camera video shows the cutting equipment slowly tipping over after it was hit by an oak tree Monday morning in Prescott. Power lines, telephone wires kept it from crashing into a neighboring home. No one was hurt. Power had to be cut off the area to get the crane.
Well, turning overseas for a unique restaurant experience. We've heard of cat cafes, but this is a little bit different.
Slipping into the details is our own pet lover, Will Gans. Will, what?
What is the right question, Andrew? And Andrew did mention cat cafes. Well, let's call this tile restaurant. It's in Malaysia on the skirts of Kuala Lumpur. You can enjoy a dessert while surrounded by snakes, lizards, and all sorts of other reptiles as they sit in their glass. The real highlight, though, is when staff members take the animals out so patrons can get a closer look or touch of them, maybe pet them, even hold them. The owner says he opened the place because he believes reptiles are underappreciated, especially compared to furry animals like dogs and cats. He says he hopes the cafe can show the public how interesting reptiles really are.
Or you could just walk around in somewhere in Florida or Louisiana on the bayou.
I was just in Puerto Rico, lots of iguanas walking around there. But so I'm assuming, though, they make you wash your hands before you eat.
You know,
This cafe.
They better. Nothing really says relaxing to me about enjoying your cappuccino with a boa constrictor on
I
your
can see
arm.
people liking this, though. Reptile lovers, they're a unique breed. Just snakes and stuff, just not for me.
I appreciate that they want to appreciate it, though.
That's right. You can catch me at the cat cafe.
Go to Starbucks or Dunkin'.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
All right, thanks, Will. Coming up, the fast food restaurant banning kids who come without an adult.
Plus, could there have been two shooters in the Alec Murdoch murder case? The expert testimony the jury has now heard.
And later, the amputee who's just made soccer history with one impressive move.
Whoa.
You're watching World News Now.
All right, team, we got a big project coming up. And it all starts with ordering promotional products.
I'm on it. 4imprint makes it easy to get the logo products you're looking for. The latest in apparel, drinkware, bags, high-tech items, and more. You can be certain of getting it right at 4imprint.
Come on out. I'm on it.
4imprint, for certain.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. At the time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S., and there's no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do. Call us at 1-800-616-5000. That's 1-800-616-5000. Or go to mesobook.com.
I'm Steve. I lost 138 pounds in 9 months on Golo and taking release. Since taking my sleep is way better, my info.
The fair and honest bidding site. This KitchenAid mixer sold for less than $26. This iPad sold for less than $43. And this PlayStation 5 sold for less than $1.
I want these Bluetooth headphones for $20.
I got these 3 suitcases for less than $40.
And shipping is always free.
Go to DealDash.com right now and see how much you can save.
Let's face it, natural underarm deodorants that try to mask odor just don't cut it. Lumi changes everything. It's the world's first outrageously effective, aluminum-free, whole-body deodorant that's safe to use anywhere. Developed by an OBGYN after years of research, Lumi blocks odor from happening in the first place and keeps working for up to 72 hours. Claim your starter pack offer at lumideo.com.
Team, I need a volunteer. Need promotional products.
I'm on it. 4imprint makes promotional product success easy. For high-quality items, go to 4imprint.com. 4imprint, for certain.
This is History of the World Part 2. Mel Brooks, you ever heard of him?
No way Mel Brooks is a part of Roma.
You want Jesus to be what?
Don't you put words in my mouth.
You were supposed to get 2 of every animal.
I got 3 pugs. Don't tell God.
Back now with a close call down under. One motor rider crossing the highway and nearly getting taken out by that blue car. Authorities who released the video blamed the rider and the driver. They said both should have stopped well before getting too close to each other.
Whew, what a close call there. Okay, double murder trial of disgraced South Carolina attorney Alec Murdaugh. Prosecutors will present their today now that Murdaugh's defense attorneys have rested their case. This morning, a South Carolina jury is one step closer to deciding Alec Murdaugh's fate, the disgraced former attorney accused of killing his wife and son.
Defense rests, Your Honor.
Defense resting its case after calling 2 crime scene experts to testify about the possibility that there were 2 shooters.
Opinion is the totality of the evidence is more suggestive of a 2-shooter scenario.
One expert claiming there would have been no time for a single shooter to kill Murdaugh's son Paul, then grab a second weapon and kill Maggie, because he says blowback from the first shotgun blast would have slowed him down.
And basically, we call back. And the person holding that gun, would they be subject to being covered in that material? Yes, in a very forceful way.
Yes. The prosecutors point out that expert never wrote up a report on his findings or sources. The defense yesterday also calling Murdaugh's brother to the stand.
And I can promise you, no mother or father or aunt or uncle should ever have to see and do what I did that day.
John Marvin Murdaugh painting Alec as a good dad, describing his emotional state at the scene of the murders.
I can promise you, words don't do it justice. I don't have to create a new word to describe how distraught he was.
And now the jury will see that crime scene for themselves. The judge granting the defense's request to visit Murdaugh's property.
Where the feed room is compared to where Maggie's body was, compared to where the quail pens are, where the doghouse is. Can't really appreciate the spatial issues without actually seeing them.
To the murder scene is expected to happen tomorrow. Prosecutors say they hope to wrap up with their rebuttal during today's court session.
A new study finds a popular artificial sweetener may pose a danger. Researchers say high blood levels of erythritol, which is used in keto-friendly foods, could increase risk of blood clots, heart attack, stroke, and death. The danger is for those already at risk of cardiovascular disease. Scientists say more research is needed to confirm a definite connection.
An amputee now has something in common with soccer stars Neymar and Cristiano Ronaldo. Marcin Oleski, who made this acrobatic shot during a match in November, has received FIFA's award for the most beautiful goal of 2022. He's the first amputee and the first person from his nation to take the honor in the award's 14-year history. It is an incredible. That's a bicycle kick and all.
Yeah, I could watch
Right
it
in
over
the
and over
back
again.
of the net.
Amazing. Good for him.
Yeah. Coming up, we look into the latest office trend, bare minimum Mondays.
And later, the restaurant that's now banning customers.
Shot of adrenaline from LAPD.
Minimum for work, and then the rest of the day is for me.
Bare Minimum Monday is the brainchild of Phoenix-based digital creator Marissa Jo Mays.
It's a burnout prevention strategy. Like, there's a reason the tortoise and the hare story has stuck around for so long.
Typically wield greater leverage for an employer, since workers have more latitude to seek a job elsewhere.
I was in corporate America for 3 years, spiraled into burnout so fast. It only
If you're looking to try your own Bare Minimum Monday, make a to-do list. And if an item doesn't have immediate consequences today, then that's tomorrow's problem. The day is all about focusing on you as a person as opposed to you, the employee.
Right. Now, this is so perfect for people who actually want to work hard, because now they'll look better to all their coworkers who are doing the bare minimum.
Only on Mondays,
So
though.
when you get passed up for that promotion and you don't move ahead,
He's
all
got
right?
strong feelings about
I
that.
do.
I know. So she's not saying to do it every Monday and
Right,
to
right.
slack off. It's exercise and to help you examine your relationship with productivity. Instead of thinking of yourself as your latest accomplishment, think of yourself as a person who also has a job
It is something to think about.
and something to do. So on Monday, when I'm not shaved and my tie's a little looser, you'll know why.
These bills are crazy.
menus. Anyway, the move comes after a series of disruptive incidents, including intimidation of the other patrons, disrespect towards employees, they say, and mistreatment of property.
Give me your waffle fries.
I'll take them.
The restaurant posted on Facebook, quote, "We want to provide a comfortable and safe environment for our guests and staff."
This is the restaurant, though. Apparently, some kids did come in and they completely trashed the place, were very rude to the patrons and the employees. So I get it. They can still get food there. They just can't eat inside
Right.
without an adult.
Interesting.
I mean, I guess. Yeah, just take your, chicken sandwich to go, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Next to a fire hose gender reveal.
What?
Yeah, a firefighter and his wife in Chattanooga enlisted the help of the fire department to reveal the gender of their baby using a fire truck, fire hose, and a lot of dye.
Blue dye, as you can see. So that means they are expecting, a boy, obviously. The reveal went off without a hitch, thankfully. So nobody got fired. Also, would put out fires. Usually we're doing stories about gender reveals causing
That's
fires.
a good point. Yeah.
At least this one.
Oh, is that a ribbon? That's not blue liquid. Okay, right? Or is that?
No, it's
Oh,
dyed in water.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. The extents people go.
They do.
Okay, next, to redoing the entire kitchen in... Wait,
What?
a prankster's son with apparently way too much time and peanut butter on his hands spent several hours roasting his parents. Their entire kitchen. The video has racked up more than 40 million views, and a part 2 video shows his father very angry.
Yeah. Well, this isn't the first time Corbin has done this thing. He covered his parents' bathroom and his mother's car in peanut butter. Is he trying to get a deal with Jif?
I know, and no jelly, huh? I guess not. Although I will say, Archie, my dog, this is heaven.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And this kid is still living in the house?
For now. For now.
Yeah.
They sent him to the Chick-fil-A. They sent him right back. And finally to a cat learning how to use a treadmill.
Wait, what?
This is Jack, an old rescued cat who encountered a treadmill for the first time. He steps on, he walks up, and then he decides to take a little cat nap maybe again and again.
See, this is just me working on my summer body. Apparently, just wanted to take a pause for a quick break.
Aw, so cute.
How prepared is your family?
My stock just went way.
Commute. Meanwhile, in Michigan, more than 47,000 residents spent yet another night in the dark after last week's ice storm.
Next door, severe weather brought high winds that damaged homes, tearing off roofs and toppling trees. This as tornadoes terrorized the southern plains and Midwest. Our Morgan Chesky starts us off.
Oklahoma facing a mess. Homes shredded and cars tossed from coast to coast extremes wreaking havoc as millions hunker down.
Right, Morgan, thank you. Let's get started.
They would be excluded from the plan. They argue that the Biden administration deprived them of their procedural rights by not allowing the public to weigh in. President Biden acknowledged the challenges during an event for Black History Month at the White House.
My administration is making it our case in the Supreme Court, and I'm confident the legal authority to carry out that plan is there. I promise you, I have your back, and this is so.
Or impeding an officer. According to the FBI affidavit, he encouraged rioters to breach another door and grabbed an officer's face shield.
Now to the Alec Murdaugh double murder trial, where the defense has rested. It came after a couple of notable courtroom successes for the defense that day. The judge granted their request to take the jurors on a tour of the crime scene, and a blood spatter expert raised doubts about the prosecution's case. He testified that likely murders were committed by a single gunman. Also, Murdaugh's brother, John Marvin, testified that investigators lied to him about evidence in the case when he came in to assist them. The prosecution says they have 4 or 5 rebuttal witnesses before closing arguments later this week. Alec Murdaugh is charged with killing his wife and son in June of 2021. He could face life in prison.
Now to the train derailment and toxic disaster in East Palestine. NBC News has confirmed.
A lot of them even face planting because it's so tough to run in that.
Yeah.
Organizers say they were happy.
Stripped Disney of its special district control, signing a bill that gives him power over it.
Company or individual in Florida, or probably anywhere else in our whole country, has enjoyed their own governing status, being exempt from many of the laws of the state of Florida, massive subsidies. So it's not a good arrangement to begin with.
After clashing with Disney over his day bill.
all federal workers have 30 days to remove TikTok from their government-issued devices. This comes after Congress passed.
Cosmetics, 5 years.
Thanks to a surge. CNBC's Jeff Cutmore has more on that. Hi, Jeff. Good morning.
To reap a lot of these growth and technology businesses. So Elon Musk personally.
Ted Lasso.
Did you know some ordinary cold medicines can rate?
Dog on the couch. So
I love knitting.
By the hands, Tina Knowles.
It just felt really, really good to show kindness to a stranger.
They were connected through loose groups stitched together last September by Jen Simonik and Macy Kaplan to finish craft projects by loved ones who've passed away.
Way to be able to help somebody get through a grieving process.
These projects, whether it's a sweater or mittens or a scarf, these are things that are just really just filled with love, aren't they?
it's a tangible gesture of love. And wearing something that someone made for you special feels good.
They've got more than 5,000 volunteers known as finishers, with 2 projects in the works and 20 now complete, including that sailboat sweater.
When she handed it to me, oh my goodness, I was already emotional. And, started to cry. She goes, stop, you're gonna make me cry.
Inside the knitting bag, Bettina also found mittens, which she finished too, adding a heart.
For me, what it symbolized was, this is mom with you, and that she remember that mom has her hand.
As for the sweater, Ethan is already wearing great-grandma's final gift, the yarn, binding together strangers for life.
I didn't know Bettina, but she's a special person in my heart forever.
Joe Fryer, NBC News.
ABC WTVA to Columbus.
Right now on America This Morning, winter storms hitting both coasts. The biggest snowfall total of the season in parts of the north, just in time for the morning commute. And in the west, the potential for 7 more feet in some areas. An emergency now declared in Southern California. Stranded.
Also developing right now, a cyber attack targeting the U.S. Marshal Service. A source saying the witness protection program is not effective. What we're learning.
Overnight crowds gathering at the Supreme Court ahead of today's high-stakes arguments on whether millions of Americans can have some of their student loan debt forgiven. The debate on both sides.
New testimony at the Alec Murdaugh trial claiming there were 2 shooters and a major decision from the judge.
Plus, the governor, who supports banning drag shows in certain public places, is asked to respond to an old yearbook photo that appears to show him in drag.
And later, new research on the one thing that could help improve the quality of your sleep, literally overnight.
From ABC News in New York, this is America This Morning.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. I'm Andrew Dimberg.
I'm Andrea from GE in for Rhiannon. We begin with significant winter storms hitting both the east and west coasts.
Here in the northeast. Some of them gathered outside the court overnight as the justices prepared to hear oral arguments today on whether President Biden's student debt relief plan is legal. ABC's Faith Abube has more. Faith, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. The Biden administration already approved student loans for 16 borrowers to be wiped in part or in full before the legal challenges halted the program. The plan remains in limbo until the justices decide this case. Overnight, a group of demonstrators braving the winter cold and rain outside the U.S. Supreme Court, camping out for a front row seat inside when oral arguments begin today on President Biden's ambitious student loan forgiveness plan. Freshman Ibrahim Mudassar speaking directly to the justices.
40 million other people in the United States, and Trump passed the freedom as well.
A few progressive congressional Democrats firing up the crowd.
The president has the authority to cancel student debt, period.
Lawyers for 2 individual borrowers in 6 Republican-led states set to argue that the plan President Biden announced last August to cancel billions of dollars in student loans for more than 40 million Americans is a gross over executive powers.
We're going to fight to defend the rule of law and defend the Constitution.
Is a key Biden campaign promise and would cancel up to $10,000 in student loans for individuals earning less than $125,000 a year, $20,000 if they were recipients of Pell Grants.
Joe Biden had no legal authority whatsoever. It's illegal. It's also unfair to the folks who paid for their college, who didn't go to college.
My administration is making it our case in the Supreme Court, and I'm confident the legal authority to carry that plan is there.
The latest Quinnipiac poll shows a majority of Americans support the student loan forgiveness plan.
It is a lingering, looming cloud of worry and anxiety for so many Americans.
And Andrew, the justices are expected to release their decision by June. Now, student loan repayments remain on hold until that ruling comes down. Andrew?
Faith, thank
And Maria Bartero.
Can you tell us about the
in it for their own reasons and are using it to commit this fraud to steal votes?
Dominion lawyers asked Murdoch if he was aware that the host endorsed the false claims, and he replied, yes, they endorsed. But Murdoch denied Fox itself promoted the election lies. The network responded to the filing, saying it was simply covering and commenting on allegations by a sitting president.
We do want there to be room to be sincere, sometimes even negligently wrong, but you weren't malicious. On the other hand, there's at which you start to destroy the fabric of democracy, especially around allegations of vote changing.
Previous court filings show Fox stars, including Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham, privately doubted the Trump team's claims. Tried to get this case.
Yes. Visit secretsresorts.com/Love Unlimited for a special Love Unlimited package and savings up to 40%.
A gas leak, all of them survived.
A big decision at the Alec Murdaugh trial. The judge is allowing jurors to visit the crime scene where the once prominent lawyer allegedly murdered his wife and son to cover up financial crimes. It comes as the defense tries to make the case that there were 2 shooters.
This morning, a South Carolina jury is one step closer to deciding Alec Murdaugh's fate, the disgraced former attorney accused of killing his wife and son.
Defense rests, Your Honor.
The defense resting its case after calling 2 crime scene experts to testify about the possibility that there were 2 shooters.
My opinion is the totality of the evidence is more suggestive of a 2-shooter scenario.
One expert claiming there would have been no time for a single shooter to kill Murdaugh's son then grabbed the second weapon and killed Maggie Murdaugh because he says blowback from the first shotgun blast would have slowed him down.
It'll basically be what we call back spatter or back motion.
And the person holding that gun, would they be subject to being covered in that material?
Yes, they do.
In a very forceful way?
Yes.
The prosecutors point out that expert never wrote up a report on his findings or sources. The defense yesterday also calling Murdaugh's brother to the stand.
And I can promise you, no mother or father or aunt or uncle should ever have to see and do what I did that day.
John Marvin Murdaugh painting Alec as a good dad, describing his emotional state at the scene after the murders.
I can promise you, words don't do it justice. I would have to create a new word to describe how distraught he was.
And now the jury will see that crime scene for themselves. The judge granting the defense's request to visit Murdaugh's property.
Where the feed room is compared to where Maggie's body was, compared to where the quail pens are, where the doghouse is. I mean, you just can't really appreciate the spatial issues without actually seeing them.
So prosecutors will call witnesses for rebuttal today. The jury's trip to the crime scene, meanwhile, is
and discomfort. Try Nervive.
Attacked in her driveway.
It is possible she was targeted from a previous stop she made at a nearby town.
Officials say the woman took one of her kids inside, and when she went back for her 2-year-old son, a white BMW pulled up. She says a man got out, knocked her down, ran her over, and stole her car. Her son still inside.
Just makes me scared and frightened. You know, it's very wish I could do something.
Hoping to quickly find the car, detectives emergency number for CarNet support services, the third-party tracking company Volkswagen uses. But detectives say they were stunned when the company insisted on being paid $150 before revealing the car's location, saying the free trial period had expired. Volkswagen calling it a serious breach of procedure. In previous cases, CarNet provided services during emergency situations and saying we are addressing the situation with the parties involved.
Very shaken up over this, rightfully so. This was an unbelievably traumatic event that they went through.
In this case, officials say the dispatcher only gave the car's GPS location 30 minutes later after a detective had paid with a credit card. Thankfully, by then, police had already found the little boy abandoned in a parking lot. He was okay.
His mom needed several.
Weeknight starting at 7. There's nothing like that.
If this new computer is so advanced, why can't I find the Fairborn case in here?
Look under theft, auto.
Did you program this? I used to be able to find it under Fairborn and Julius when I had a real file cabinet with real files on real paper that I could read.
I think your old file cabinet is still out back in the storeroom.
Well, thanks, Andy. I'll just check it out.
I'm sure you're dead.
Okay, somebody's a lousy shot.
You could look at the shooter.
No, I got a pretty good idea of who it was.
Bennett's office. Oh, hello, Jessica. No, I'm afraid he hasn't come in yet. Yes, I certainly will. Goodbye. Sam, that's the second time she's called today. She said it was important.
What's all right, honey? I'll handle it.
I'll put dinner on the table.
No. I got another appointment. Thanks.